A successful penalty kick, a successful life. You hold the world in your hands. Written by Kamal Ledifov. Thank you, great reader, for sparing your most valuable resource, your precious time, to read the book that you're currently holding in your hands. Thank you for taking interest. Thank you for making the right choice. Thank you to the universe for giving us the right and the choice to be ourselves. A boundless thank you goes out to all direct and indirect participants in all of those exhilarating moments. I thank everybody for everything. I thank everybody for everything. Preface. One of the most important chapters in our family story began during our first year of navigating our life as immigrants. As we struggled to overcome all the hurdles we encountered on the difficult path of adapting to our new environment, we were pleasantly surprised by the ample opportunities to practice different kinds of sports that were presented to us. Without any hesitation, I enrolled my child at the local soccer academy, since that is my favorite sport. But this turned out to be a very peculiar and complicated challenge in itself. My child had never had professional training before. He had only played street football. A 13-year-old who was just starting to learn how to properly play football with peers who had been coached since they were 6 or 7 years old inevitably ran the risk of finding himself outside of his comfort zone. The initial language barrier and differences in cultural backgrounds and customs compounded the problem even more, creating quite a delicate situation. I watched the first few training sessions with a pit in my stomach, and my only hope was that they passed without too many embarrassing incidents. I asked myself the logical question: how can we get through these circumstances in the fastest possible way? I acted instinctively and gave him the following advice. Given the opportunity, always request and accept the responsibility to perform penalty kicks, the real challenge for every football player. The best way to tackle difficult obstacles is to face them, not to avoid them. Play with your heart, soul, and body. Incorporate whatever you can learn from others that is of benefit to you, but keep your authenticity, and above all, depend on your own creative and unique approach. Play smartly and intelligently. The head, or mind, initiates all the actions. The legs are just the executive organs that complete them. Because of following the philosophy, and above all, because of working steadfastly, he turned into an extremely successful penalty taker, goal scorer, playmaker, and team captain. Reading carefully and attentively, you will easily recognize the words of the penalty taker himself. I myself discovered how powerfully penalty kicks, happiness, and life as a whole are interconnected. I wrote this enlightening, intensely emotional, practical, and useful book as an expression of appreciation and gratitude to the whole athletic community. It may just be a little flame, kindled by the noblest virtues, but I hope that it will be used to warm the hearts and souls of the entire human race. A successful penalty kick, a successful life. You hold the world in your hands. When the heart ceases beating, when the breath comes to a full stop, when cosmic silence descends, my moment arrives. The moment of my glory, the moment of acclaim, the moment when I strike my next shot, the next successful penalty kick, the next successful goal, the next victory. Introduction. The goal of this book is to help each reader to the greatest possible extent by revealing the profound significance of sports in people's lives. In order to succeed in sports, a person needs to develop character traits that are foundational to a successful life as a whole. Football, more commonly known as soccer in the USA, and the successful execution of the penalty kick are interconnected with how a person lives his or her life and strives for happiness. The tremendous value of this written work stems from its focus on the interconnectedness. This book was written after years of focused practical training that produced the psychological constitution needed to achieve noticeable results. These lines are infused with countless lived moments, joys, sorrows, and disappointments. Most importantly, my findings have been tried and tested in practice and in real life, which is the surest test for their accuracy. All of the approaches I described have proven to be extremely effective. I feel obligated to share all of this in the hope that it will help everybody appreciate all the peculiarities of the penalty kick as a truly exhilarating moment in the game of football. Chapter 1. Sports, the most powerful performance-enhancing drug, PED, for your body. There is nothing more valuable to us than our health. Unfortunately, we often ignore it because we usually enjoy good health for free at first, and we tend not to value things that come to us for free as much as we should. It is only when we lose it that we realize that cruel fact, but then it is too late. There is no better way to maintain your health than through sports. Sports are just as important as food, water, and air for the body. They provide physical and psychological foundation for your existence. Sports are the most powerful natural PED for the body. Sports are the most effective weapon in the fight against the worst problems that afflict our lives and our society. If you want a healthy spirit, play sports. If you want a healthy body, play sports. Play sports and you will forget your frustration. Play sports and you will find happiness. Choose your favorite sports. Practice them smartly, and your life will change. Among the many kinds of sports, football enjoys the highest status. As the king of sports, football captivates and attracts more strongly than all magnets on earth put together. Millions of people around the world go to bed and wake up consumed with it. Penalty kicks are the queens of the game of football, and its most exciting part, leading to triumph or unspeakable disappointment. Football is our life. The goal is our happiness. Chapter 2. The role of all participants in the penalty kick. Which is the most opportune position in the penalty kick? The goalkeeper, the penalty taker, the spectators, the TV viewer, or perhaps the referee? The goalkeeper. He has nothing to lose. If a goal is scored, nobody blames him because that is the outcome that is taken for granted. The most important thing for the goalkeeper when it comes to penalty kicks is that he is not psychologically traumatized. However, if the goalkeeper does happen to stop the goal from happening, he or she turns into a major hero and the hottest topic for discussion in tomorrow's press. He is automatically propelled into a magical world, a glorious, proud, stellar, and fantastic superhuman. This could be a lucky opportunity to enjoy unique distinction and triumph. Why would you not want this role? Then, when will you have such an incredible opportunity again? You do not have to assume the responsible risk, but the possibility for triumph still awaits you. You do not have to farm the crop, but you have the opportunity to harvest it. You do not have to pay the full price, but you get the prospect of receiving an inflated value, because there are no saved penalty kicks. There are only failed penalty kicks that were missed due to mistakes made by the takers. What a fortunate, incredibly lucky winner. Ah, why the hell can't we all be goalkeepers? Indeed. Is not the role so attractive at first sight? And what can we say about the penalty taker? It is natural to expect that the taker of the penalty kick should score a goal. This is the standard outcome that everybody takes for granted in this situation. Your sole task is to kick the ball into the net, and that's that. Should you fail, however, you automatically turn into a major anti-hero. You will be excoriated publicly and privately by everybody, but worst of all, by yourself. Even nature cannot remain indifferent. Often the clouds thicken, lightning strikes, and a deluge starts bucketing down. as the storm rages in response to the latest injustice. You are officially entered as a loser in the most shameful annals of failure. You will become hapless fodder for the media, which will turn you into its next villain without showing you any mercy. Given that you know all this, it is easy to understand why your heart may be racing, why your face may turn pale, scared, and why your legs may feel shaky and unsteady. Why wouldn't the net look tiny, whereas the goalkeeper may appear like a magnificent giant? It is humanly impossible to grasp how devastated you would feel if you missed the penalty kick. Perhaps the most desperate desire in that tragic moment would be for Mother Earth to open up and to swallow the latest failed football player in her bowels. Your eternal home, darkness, and cold await. Who needs this role? And who would want any of this? Who would consciously want to be crazy? Is this the fate of the penalty taker? Maybe we want to be one of the spectators, prepared to react well in advance, to applaud the goalkeeper, or to boo the loser. But the position of the spectators is difficult as well, because more bystanders cannot participate in the duel they are watching unfold. They are burning with the desire to help, but feel fully the limitations of their role, and in the end are still forced to drink from the bitter cup of failure or the happy cocktails of triumph. The referees, on the other hand, appear to desire one thing only, that everything happens according to the rules, regardless of whether a goal happens or not. Paradoxically, or not, their secondary role is rather attractive. The referee's dream is to remain unnoticed, and they hope that their names will never get mentioned, just like the names of the slaves of yore who built the magnificent ancient pyramids. Whose role should you choose? In whose position do you want to be? This is a tough question. Yes, a truly difficult question, but the answer is very easy. I do not want to be a goalkeeper. No, no. And once again, I do not want that role. I do not need to be the victim. I do not want glory at the expense of someone else's misery. Well then, what then? Then I choose to be in the position of the penalty taker. I shoulder all responsibility. And why must I be so categorical? For one reason only. Everything is in the hands of the penalty taker. Absolutely everything depends solely on me and on nobody else. I am the author, the director, the protagonist, and the doer. This is enough to provide the best answer and the strongest argument. Chapter 3. The universe has given us the right to make personal choices, which is a guarantee for success. How a person's life will unfold depends primarily on that very person. Just like the captain of a ship, I oversee and determine everything, the direction, the speed, and the destination. Or like the conductor of an orchestra, I direct the music of failure or success. It is the same in life. Every person needs to accept full responsibility. This is precisely where the true power of the penalty taker hides, realizing the outcome depends entirely and solely on him or her. A person's success in life depends primarily on him or her as well. You, the penalty taker, determine the angle of the ball, just like you determine the purpose of your life. You select the direction of the ball, just like you select which path you will take to achieve your life goals. You choose how high the ball will fly, just like you choose the magnitude of your ambitions. If you want to, you deliver a very precise and sufficiently powerful kick, and you give the goalkeeper no chance. If you want to, you make the right moves, and you similarly give failure in life no chance. As you stand behind the ball, you get the greatest right, the right to exercise your own choice. A mother cannot pick the moment when her baby is born, but you, the penalty taker, can determine the exact second when you strike the decisive kick on the ball. The universe may withhold certain rights from us, but it presents us with others, so it maintains balance and equilibrium. It is sheer madness not to avail yourself of your rights. The same principle holds true when it comes to football. Only you and nobody else determine the attitude with which you approach the execution of the penalty kick. Most importantly, the calibration of your brain and your mental processes do not depend on the goalkeeper, the spectators, the referee, or any other factors, but only on your conscience and on your higher self. Similarly, only you can determine your attitude towards your life. You are your worst enemy when it comes to everything in life, nobody, and nothing else. Your sole task is to make optimal use of your most valuable instrument, your own brain, which produces your thoughts for free. You should never, absolutely never, in no way, and for no reason, give way to the thoughts of doubt, indecision, or hesitation. Generally, such thoughts have the ability to easily overpower our mental processes and to cause chaos and confusion, similar to a sea that is whipped by hurricane winds. But if you have developed psychological fortitude so that you know how to conjure positive thoughts and to reject negative ones, then your success in sports and in life is inevitable. When your brain is serene, like deep and calm water, it shows your gratitude in the best possible way. This is the key to success. In the case of the penalty kick, you need to develop an automated mental process that directs your actions from the moment when it is awarded to the moment it is fully completed. The proper psychological mindset is the best guarantee of victory. Chapter 4. Is it possible to escape the abject fate of the penalty taker who misses a penalty kick? The act of executing a penalty kick entails an inherent paradox. Is it ever worth taking the risk of missing the penalty kick and emerging as an anti-hero? Is it really worth taking the risk of being entered in the most shameful annals of failure? Why would one want to leave a lasting memory of disappointment in millions of hearts for years and generations to come? Why must one cause negative emotions in his or her most beloved people? Is it possible that this fate does not potentially befall every penalty taker? And how can it be avoided? How can it be done? Is it possible to avoid failure altogether? Yes, it is, indeed, possible, because the successful penalty kick is the most logical conclusion of this moment. Yet because the power is in the penalty taker, who is the single causal factor behind its success, one only needs to achieve the proper heightened psychological state where the brain sends unerringly precise impulses to the muscle cells, and the respective organs execute impeccably exact and coordinated actions. This is the basic rule for success in the penalty kick and in life. The state of one's psychological and mental activity determines the degree of one's success and the end result. The law of the successful penalty kick is foundational. The efficiency of the penalty kick is proportional to the psychological state of the penalty taker. One may have the most unique technical skills, but that still will not guarantee that he or she will execute a successful penalty kick. We know of numerous cases when the best players missed because they were rattled psychologically. Absolutely everyone needs to comprehend and consider this fact at all times and in all circumstances. Chapter 5. After the penalty kick is awarded, beginning psychological preparation.
Everything begins at the moment when my opponent makes a mistake. The mistake gives the referee the justification to dispense the most extreme punishment, a penalty kick. I hear the referee's whistle and see him point to the white penalty mark. In this magical moment, my body is swiftly overtaken by a distinctive wave of emotion. I need to be especially vigilant here, as this euphoric feeling needs to be preserved and sustained for the entire duration of the penalty kick. This feeling has a potent effect on me, so I must keep riding the emotional wave psychologically. Unfortunately, after that moment passes, we often make the mistake of allowing thoughts of doubt, anxiety, and stress to rush into our minds. We should never let this happen. Apprehensions such as, will I make it now? I must score at any rate. This goalkeeper is so good, and so on, are the kind of misgivings that will kill your confidence, leading to certain failure. Accept full responsibility and begin to execute the necessary actions that very second. In this moment, follow the principle that actions determine our thoughts, as opposed to the more traditional accepted notion that thoughts determine our actions. Start performing the physical motions required to prepare for the upcoming task without allowing any unnecessary barrage of negative thoughts. Decisiveness. My success's closest ally is my decisiveness in taking full responsibility. If the team has picked me as the penalty taker, then it is pointless to ask the most misguided question. Should I be the one to perform the penalty kick? To seek affirmation. If this happens, I allow doubt to take over, and failure is certain. Decisiveness ends all negative thoughts. Do not allow doubts or hesitation to rush into your mind, or even for 1/1000th of a second. Accept full responsibility in front of everybody with a sense of fulfillment, because there is nothing more sacred than taking on this enormous psychological burden. Every penalty kicker needs to act as resolutely as the eagle that dives upon its prey. Approach the ball with unwavering resolve. Pick it up and walk towards the penalty mark with your head held high. Of course, the physical motions are easy to perform, but in order to win the game against the opponent, you first need to win the battle against yourself. Yes, it truly is the case that the penalty kicker is their own worst enemy. The voices in the penalty kicker's own head present a much more serious obstacle than the goalkeeper, the entire opposing team, or all the fans cheering the opposition team. Just like nature does not like a vacuum, the human mind is constantly flooded with a stream of thoughts, which fuel corresponding emotions and feelings. The brain cannot handle two different kinds of thoughts at any given moment. Aware of this simple fact, and of the even simpler but extremely important knowledge that I, and only I, can choose what thoughts I permit inside my head, I recognize that my choice is fundamental to my success. What thoughts should I choose to prevail during such exciting moments? Why even ask? I focus solely on thoughts that generate feelings of gratitude. Gratitude. Gratitude is the most profound feeling, and it helps us in life as well. Every time you feel bad, just give thanks. It does not matter for what. You will turn into a shield that mercilessly rebuffs every timid negative thought as it is still forming. Gratitude is the strongest weapon for everybody in any circumstance. Armed with just the power of gratitude, you can enjoy immeasurable rewards throughout your entire life. When you give thanks, you give your body the strongest spiritual food, and it pays you back in the most incredible way. There has never been, there is not, and there never will be a truly successful person who has not given thanks for everything. There's never been, there is not, and there will never be a successful, ungrateful person. Ingratitude is antithetical to true happiness and prosperity. What is the point of scoring a goal when you do not feel appreciation or gratitude towards yourself and those around you? Birds perform amazing songs to thank their creator. Flowers express their appreciation by releasing divine aromas. Even the hardest clay softens its soul in gratitude to the warm rays of the sun. When you give thanks, you preclude anybody from sidetracking you from your path. What should you give thanks for? Be grateful for everything that is important to you. For the amazing gift that the universe has given you. For the opportunity that has been presented to you. For fairness. To yourself and to your unique body. To all around you. To everybody and for everything. There are countless reasons to be grateful. The more you give thanks, the more you develop psychological resilience. The more frequently we utter this magical word, the more we fortify the wall that blocks the demons of anxiety, insecurity, and doubt. Gratitude paves the road to building the necessary confidence. Faith and confidence. Why must I be absolutely confident that I will succeed? If everything depends on me, if I have already trained sufficiently, and if I have the necessary skills, then I have every reason to have complete and unassailable confidence. Because I have trained already excruciatingly for a long time, because I have already developed the necessary automatism in my movements, and because I have already paid the requisite price in advance, I have no place left for doubt. Constant, extended, and grueling football practice, combined with psychological training, constitute the basis of my confidence. I am confident because I have made sure to cultivate the habits I need. I have faith in myself, I have faith in my abilities, and I have faith in my success. Faith to us is like wings are to birds. Without wings, birds cannot take flight. It is the same with people. Without faith, one cannot shred the veil of mediocrity. The stronger one's faith is, the higher and the mightier one will soar towards success. My faith in my success helps me to develop my gifts and more. Thanks to it, I can see the stars during the day or my shadow at night, because nothing is impossible for a person of strong faith. Strong faith enables the blind person to sense and to savour the colours of a gorgeous bouquet. It empowers the deaf person to feel the glorious tunes of the most melodious songbirds. Without faith, there is no joy in inhaling even one tiny breath of air to sustain my life. My confidence gives me the necessary sense of tranquility, certainty, and self-control. Self-control. In the process of executing a penalty kick, you should never lose your sense of self-control. Instead, you should temper your feelings and remain composed and calm. Almost every time we watch a penalty kick, we expect to hear commentators assert that the penalty taker is under enormous pressure. But is this really the case? A popular saying goes, "Keep calm under pressure." What is there to be tense about? You are in the best position. You are the key to success and the one on whom everything depends, and triumph is within your power to achieve. If you are tense, consider why. Is it because you are looking forward to scoring your next dream goal? Or to demonstrate your dedication and commitment? Is it because you have an opportunity to generate another surge of transcendental emotion? You're about to send the ball past the goal line. Don't think of it as anything more. If this is all it is there any real reason to allow yourself to feel pressure? Is it worth it? Or is it a waste of time to even mention tension from now on? In those moments of rejoicing, this would be simply senseless, illogical, and even morally wrong. When you have developed the psychological fitness to maintain the necessary calm in the face of numerous provocations, it is no problem to display self-control. Every taunt, each jeer makes you stronger, because such taunts and jeers only prove the weakness of your opponent. They are an indirect affirmation of your power, so make use of it accordingly. When we talk about psychological fortitude, we tend to pay too much attention to a certain emotion that has no place being mentioned at all in this book. We will not even name it. It is not worth spelling it out. There's no place in the mind of anybody who desires to be a real winner. If one lets it manifest itself, it will assume control and destroy anybody's psyche. This emotion does not exist in reality. It is only an illusion in some people's minds, but if one gives it power, it behaves like ice in a hot environment. It melts without stopping. I will give you a hint with a code. 6, 5, 1, 18. Have you guessed it yet? The answer is this feeling is incompatible with success. It can be beneficial at times in our lives, as it can protect us from danger and even be rational. However, in sports, as in when the penalty kicker is inspired and motivated, it does not exist. 6. Attitude towards all other participants. What should be your attitude towards other participants in the game? One line of thought suggests that the deeper the hatred, the greater the motivation. Of course, rivalry and the drive to win are often invaluable qualities in sports, but they aren't always the most advantageous to you in those concrete moments. Like any other sport, football is a game that gets played out during a precisely allotted period of time. After the game is over, life goes on. But what will be the expressions on our faces as we proceed? How we will look at each other, and what words will we utter? The field is not only a place for rivalry, it is also the most fertile ground for sowing the seeds of sportsmanship and fair play, which will mature into a worthwhile harvest in terms of human relations. There are much truer, more rational, and amazingly potent attitudes, ranging from empathy to collegiality to respect. The goalkeeper. The goalkeeper always deserves my respect and gratitude. I appreciate not being in his place. It is very nice that he has some hope, for hope keeps us alive. It's a pity that he is most likely facing the saddest ritual of removing the ball from the net after the goal. I thank him as a true friend for having the courage to stand against me. And the better he is, the more I appreciate him, because he drives and motivates me even more. He really is a victim of the circumstances to get to this point, and for this I wish him success as well. The opposing players. The players on the opposing team are my rivals standing closest to me. When it comes to penalty kicks, they are passive witnesses to my next goal, so I necessarily express my empathy and collegiality. They have been assigned to this role by a very cruel fate. Is there anything they can do? They can wait for the opponent to make a mistake, just as I do. Perhaps the most rational course of action is to carefully watch the penalty taker's performance and to learn from their experience. The opposing fans. The opposing fans deserve only compassion, love and appreciation. None of this is their fault, but they still must drink the bitter cup of defeat. It may be unpleasant to accept, but one needs to face defeat with dignity, just like one does in life. A true winner is secretly driven by the following personal challenge. I will do everything in my power to make the enemy's fans cheer for me. This is the biggest form of motivation, affirmation, and accomplishment. A gracious attitude towards my opponent also really helps to boost my own psychological well-being. The most precious takeaway for my opponent is to learn a valuable lesson about how he got to this point, what mistakes were made, and above all, how to prevent them from now on. This applies to everything and to everybody. We learn best from our mistakes. In all likelihood, the next time our roles will be reversed, and this is why we have the golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. I renounce hatred. I despise nastiness. I reject non-sportsmanship, and I shun provocation. Your team. To my teammates, my trainers and my fans, I owe an enormous debt of gratitude for their immense confidence in me. This empowers me with limitless strength and compels me to give the best to myself. As a team sport, football imparts responsibility on each player, but in terms of success and of failure, I am a member of the team, and each of my victories can only happen thanks to everybody else, not only my teammates, but also all the people working for the club, as well as all the spectators and every single fan. To attribute my success only to myself would be self-absorption and ruinous for everybody. I share the credit for my success with everybody on the team, whereas I accept responsibility for my individual mistakes and failures personally.
Attitude toward the ball. Ah, that football. destined to absorb all your feelings and passions. Always treat it as an actual part of your own body. Your heart gives it life. Your liver gives it energy. Your muscles give it power. And your brain makes it real and emotionally alive. All of that creates the necessary synchrony between you and the ball. Chapter 7. Actions in Practice. As I take the ball in my hands, I initiate the most sublime victory ritual. Making contact with the ball ensures synergy between us. We make a pact. I accept it as a part of my body, and as such, it will obey my commands unerringly. This is our singular contract. Having moved around ceaselessly, the exhausted ball whispers quietly but excitedly, "Oh, my sovereign, I beg to you let me have the most exciting experience. Send me to my kingdom, my temple, behind the goal line, so that I can touch the folds of the net. That is my oasis. And even though 22 football players are constantly trying to do so, that happiness rarely befalls me. As I feel its soft warmth, these words pierce my heart like an arrow, and my body quivers slightly for a second and moves towards the penalty mark with calm and composed steps. From the moment I touch the ball and take it in my hands, thanks to the sense of control I have developed, I accept full responsibility for attaining the next goal. Both in life and these circumstances, I apply myself fully and do everything in my power to bring joy to all by letting them celebrate the next victory. With a genuine expression of infinite love, I kiss the ball and place it at the starting point, the spring from which its flight towards its dream temple will begin. I do all that carefully, steadily, and after I necessarily make sure that everything is in order, after I put down the ball, as I breathe deeply and steadily, I walk backward until I reach my preferred distance from the ball. In this moment, it is always crucial to block out the devious enemy of the human tendency to undermine oneself. It is essential to combine the proper psychological training with the most precise and effective motions. Every second is filled with the strongest concentration possible. I direct all my powers toward my goal in the same way the magnifying glass collects and aims the rays of sun into a singular point. I am grateful if this moment is brief because I reach my dream victory faster. I am even more grateful if it lasts because then I have more time for the most important preparation. As I concentrate on the ball, I take advantage of the following few seconds to ready myself psychologically one final time. My mind is serene. All its demons, anxiety, insecurity are completely incinerated, obliterated, gone without a trace. My mind is in the hands of its most loyal allies. Composure, confidence, courage, and concentration. In this state, it is extremely happy and eager to fulfill its functions. The deep and calm breathing supplies enough oxygen to my lungs, and they provide me with the energy I need.
The referee's signal. The greatest moment of my life arrives because the referee has granted me and nobody else the right to direct the course of events. I determine everything. I alone decide how to act. I alone am the master of these seconds in which the whole world belongs to me. This right is my most valuable gift. Everything is in my hands. Everything is at my feet. Everything is in my mind. Basic techniques for executing the penalty kick. My psychological state determines how I approach the execution of the penalty kick. Once again, I give thanks from the bottom of my heart. I give thanks to my brain, which makes the most accurate decision regarding the concrete technique I should use in each case. Guided by its impeccable appraisal of my situational psychological state, my own brain makes the most qualified determination on well-trained instinct. How to choose the proper technique? How, and how again? The answer has everything to do with my psychological state of mind. First option, a precise and sufficiently powerful kick. If I prefer to play it totally safe and to avoid unnecessary risks, I would bet on the precise and solid kick in a chosen upper corner of the gate, using just the proper force. The goal is ensured because, theoretically, the goalkeeper has no chance to prevent it. The time it takes the ball to move from the penalty mark to the goal line is shorter than the time it takes the goalkeeper to get to the ball. This indisputable fact is at the basis of the successful penalty kick. Victory is guaranteed when you have paid the price in advance. What is the price? Naturally, it is practicing kicking the ball thousands of times. My mind is content because it effortlessly but impeccably sends nerve impulses to the muscle fibres, which contract with surgical precision and trigger magnificently coordinated movements of my entire body. I strike the necessary, precise and sufficiently powerful kick on the excited ball and direct it towards the chosen sector of its temple behind the goal line. This is how most people live their lives too. They choose safety, avoid any challenges, and coast along the smooth current of the river until they reach the sea of the great beyond. Second option, collaborate in the kick at the last possible moment, depending on the goalkeeper's behaviour. When I feel at my psychological peak, when my brain burns with the desire to perform its highest cerebral feats and is ready to accept its most inspirational challenge, this is when my choice is to execute the penalty kick in the most exciting way. This is the finest art, a masterful performance, a sublime gratification, and of course, a divine goal. But it provides an opportunity to display the superb talent of the penalty taker. At first sight, this is a difficult choice, but it results in the most magical performance. It is also a wonderful psychological game with the goalkeeper. How to calculate the penalty kick? As I rush towards the ball, I am hyper-vigilant about detecting any indication of what the goalkeeper's reaction will be. Intuiting his movements, which tell me which corner he has chosen, I direct the ball towards the opposite corner and goal! If the goalkeeper does not move by the time I kick the ball, I send it into the corner I have chosen in advance with maximum accuracy close to the beam. In theory, by reacting after my kick, the goalkeeper dooms himself. His only reaction will be to follow the trajectory of the ball with his eyes without ever being able to reach it. He will be like an animal that tries to catch its tail. This technique for performing penalty kicks demands total perfection, long-term training, resilient psychological makeup, optimal thought processes sustained by the mind, lightning-fast decision-making, highly coordinated movements, and amazing precision. At first glance, this approach looks exceedingly difficult and risky, but if you train for it repeatedly, it turns into the most fun and enjoyable performance. It becomes an unforgettable moment to prove your now supernatural talent. This is a struggle that depends on your psyche and self-discipline, and it is not for the faint of heart. But when it's fully perfected, it turns into the most thrilling and gratifying experience. When will you have this incredible opportunity to rise again?
Chapter 8. The Marvelous Ability to Generate Sport Euphoria. After I choose what technique to use, I go on to execute the penalty kick in practice. Calm acceleration, full concentration, approach the ball, split-second decision, kick, and goal! My eyes follow the magic flight of the ball with utmost admiration as it passes the goal line and softly touches the net. Everything erupts with a powerful force that is stronger than all the forces on Earth combined. Everybody on my team is ecstatic. The fans are triumphant. Even the dead are jolted by this greatness. My body is compelled to express its euphoria. The moment deserves to be celebrated by surrendering myself to pure, wild ecstasy. The experience will leave a deep mark on my conscience. Every cell in my body, every building block, is enjoying an incredible feeling of triumph. I feel like I am the luckiest man alive because I was able to create and generate an incredible emotion in the context of sport. This euphoria cannot be procured with all the riches on earth. Nobody can buy it with money. But I generated it. Yes, I generated it. And this is one's highest purpose in sports. This is the key to the joy of sports. Anybody in this incredible emotional state forgets everything else. The sick forget about their sickness. The handicapped no longer remember their disability. The poor let their poverty and hardship slip from memory and feel richer than the richest person in the world. The wealthy forget about their wealth and feel true happiness, just like the poorest of the poor who rejoice at the sight of a scrap of bread. The old forget about their age, and the young forget about their inexperience. The sick are healthy, and the healthy become immortal. This is the great equalizer. Everybody joins in a singular whole, united in the most transcendental experience. Is there anything more marvelous than to trigger this indescribable state? Words still do not exist that can capture precisely this awesome sense of euphoria in sports. There are no such words, and there will never be. You can only know it viscerally. Is it not worth it, then, to devote yourself fully to this? Is it not worthwhile to give all you have, to pledge your life even, in order to achieve this sublime moment? This is why I repeat again. Sports are the most powerful natural PED for your body. Here I must compare the unbelievable sensation of the context in sports with the fabricated state of artificial emotions generated by any addictive substances that ruin human health. Nature has provided you with everything you need to enjoy an authentically happy life. It has gifted you with sight, so you can admire its beauty. You have hearing, so you can listen to its tender melodies. Your taste buds enable you to savor food. Nature has procured you with everything you need to marvel at it, but it is not selfish. It also has gifted you with various feelings and something else that is very peculiar. Different mechanisms to regulate those feelings naturally. It has given you numerous hormones that dictate your moods. Why then would you even need to elevate your mood and spiritual state artificially, using substances and destroying your health? Chapter 9. Triumph After the Goal.
We humans are emotional creatures, but we all experience emotions in distinctive ways. Every sport evokes certain emotions over and over again, but every person experiences them differently. My body has to channel the euphoria after my victory because by rejoicing, it is consuming the most nourishing emotional food. My brain is building and reinforcing neural paths of success, and they become the basis for my next, even more spectacular feats. This has an extremely positive effect on my overall personal growth, and as a result, I become even more confident and motivated to pursue better results. And I achieve those results with much more ease. Those priceless seconds of triumph allow me to transcend what I was before. I become even stronger, even greater, even more inspired. After each successful goal, I express my euphoria my own way and feed my body with essential emotional nourishment. However, one's individual way of expressing their wild elation should never lead to breaking the rules. In such moments, it is easiest to fall in the hidden trap of getting penalised and warnings and penalty cards. It would be the height of stupidity to let this happen. What is the point of scoring a goal if you are then sanctioned and put your teammates through a painful ordeal? Allow yourself to feel joy without sacrificing the self-control and heightened psychological state you've worked to develop.
Chapter 10. Summary. By now you would be convinced that there is a law of success to the execution of penalty kicks, along with the constant, tiresome, heavy, and proper training you need to build up your psychological fitness too. Psychological stamina allows impeccable performance and ensures scoring a goal. It is easy because everything depends on and is determined by the penalty taker alone, because control is in his or her hands, and he or she is the lead figure. Departing from this realization and sense of responsibility, every penalty taker can efficiently take advantage of the opportunity to generate the next wave of sport euphoria. This is the strongest motivation to succeed. When you are calm and focused, nothing can get in the way of a flawless performance. When you've already won the battle with yourself, the goal is certain. These are the most valuable moments of pleasure and joy. They are the moments that present you with the next opportunity to be a triumphant winner. They are moments in which you create an incredible experience for everybody. The most meaningful reason to give your all is to warm the hearts and to excite the souls of others. The personal qualities built upon this foundation will benefit the penalty taker throughout his or her entire life. Success in sport is inextricably tied to success in life. Ode to the successful penalty kick. The opponent's latest mistake. The referee's latest unimpeachable verdict. The referee's signal of justice sounds, a signal that gives me the greatest right in the universe, the right to generate the next wave of inimitable sport euphoria. My feet resolutely lead me to the ball, and my hands excitedly touch it as if they are a second heart of mine. I accept the responsibility. I embrace the success. Yes to faith, decisiveness, tranquility, and self-assurance because they are my most loyal allies. No to doubt, fear, and anxiety, which get cast far into non-existence. Placing the ball at the penalty mark, I express the utmost gratitude and appreciation. Thank you, and thank you again for everything. I praise the goalkeeper for his courage to stand against me. I respect the others for their dignity. I fully empathize with the opponent. Flawless judgment, calm acceleration, superb control of my body, surgically precise kick, a precise and sufficiently powerful kick, and goal! The goalkeeper waits. I send the ball in the chosen corner. Goal! The goalkeeper makes a preemptive move. I send the ball in the opposite corner. Still a goal. Goal, success, glory, and triumph. Triumph, glory, and the success after the goal. Successful penalty kick, successful life. Everything is in your hands. You pay the price, and you achieve the results. You start with gratitude, you let gratitude guide you all the way, and you finish with gratitude.